my name is Jen Loki. It is the 25th of October. We're going to dissect a heart. Here we go. I just have a piece of paper with all of the parts on it right here. That's it. Okay. Now we're going to make this go down. Okay, so it was sort of tricky to orient this guy. Just realized that I don't have my other glove on. So the right atrium, at least the auricle for the right atrium, is right here. The right ventricle is here. The left ventricle, most of which, the apex is made of mostly that. The left ventricle here. The left auricle of the left atrium is here. Okay, so those are the four chambers. The interventricular branch of the coronary artery goes here, and then the great cardiac vein goes alongside it as well. And then there's more coronary artery between the atrium and the ventricle. Okay, so that's some of that. All right, so we open this guy up. I can tell that the left ventricle has the thicker muscular wall, right ventricle over here. And let's see, the mitral valve is the valve on the left side. So the mitral valve would be between the left atrium and the left ventricle. And so the parts that are sort of left over after me butchering it, don't go to sleep, computer, are right here. You can kind of see there are two flaps. It's a bicuspid valve. And the chordae tendineae are these strings underneath it that would give rise to the muscle, the papillary muscle that would help that the valve close. Yeah, this is a better view of it in there. Okay, so that's the mitral valve. The tricuspid valve is on the right side. 3 flaps of tissue that meet together for this one. Okay, so that would happen right here between the right atrium and the right ventricle. Again, it's kind of hard to see once I've butchered it, but I assume that these flaps right here would be some of them, and the chordae tendineae underneath would be these. So here's some of the valve and some of the chordae. Oops, tendineae. Oops, that just went flying. Gross. Don't tell my kids. Okay. So that's the tricuspid valve. The aortic valve is the valve that leaves the left ventricle and goes up into the aorta. On the blood's way up into the aorta. So that would be here. Right here. And then the pulmonic valve was actually quite hard for me to find the pulmonary trunk because it's just of the way that it's sort of lopped off close to the heart. But it is, let's see if I can orient myself now. Obviously, it's for where the blood is leaving the right ventricle to go to the lungs to get oxygenated. Stop it, computer. Keeps falling asleep. And trying to find it right now. I found that it was tricky because the pulmonary artery and the aorta are like right next to each other, and it's hard to tell what goes to what. So the pulmonary artery is this. Can I see? Yeah. And if I stick my finger down into it, it comes out in the right ventricle. So that's how I know. And so the pulmonic valve would be just inside of this. So I see some flaps of tissue in there. But it was tricky because it's next to the aorta. It's just I don't know. It was hard for me. Okay. So that is the pulmonic valve. The interventricular septum is this right here, part of the myocardium, or at least the portion that separates the ventricles. The endocardium is the lining of the inner chambers of the heart. So like the inside of the ventricles, the slippery stuff, some epithelial and some connective tissue. And then myocardium is the middle layer of muscle, cardiac muscle. And then the epicardium is on the outside of the heart. The visceral portion of the epicardium is against here, and the fibrous part, I assume, would have been surrounding that, but has been removed. I think that's it. Yay, go Hearts.